Hi guys, welcome back to Cinema Suitcase. I'm Kev, this is my co-host Logan, and today we're discussing one of my films, or recommended films, Unhinged. A recent film that came out only last year, I believe. Sometime last year.
Yeah, really good 90-minute thriller.
90-minute thriller. It is a thriller. It really kept me on the edge of my seat the first time I watched it. This is okay. Of course, like any movie, you can poke holes in it, but it's fun.
Yeah, it is
and,
fun.
I think because both our first encounters with this movie will be brief, I'll go first. Mine was... I saw a trailer of it in a trailer compilation. And I showed it to my mom. I was like, hey, Mom, what do you think of this movie? Should we watch it? And she was like, yeah, no, get it. That sounds exciting. And we got a copy. We watched it. And I loved it. I like it a lot. That was my introduction. How about yours?
So for me, definitely wanted to watch it. I saw a review by the one reviewer I watched, Chris Stuckman, and he said it was pretty decent. So I wanted to watch it, and then also I was like, I wanted to watch it with my mom because my mom loves Russell Crowe. Like she's like basically one of her favorite actors. So I was like, okay, yeah, this is a movie that my mom probably would enjoy to watch. So me and her sat and watched it, and yeah, it's good. It's just a fun 90-minute thriller. I think it's it's not like Casablanca or like Citizen Kane or whatever in terms of storytelling, but it is well written. It's not stupidly written. It's not one of those movies that it's a cash grab, just whatever.
No,
just
that's
throw
true.
a movie together so that we have something for the weekend or whatever. Like no, it actually is a pretty good well made thriller. And Russell Crowe is just excellent in this movie.
Yeah, no, he steals the show, definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that... I don't know any of the other actors. I've never seen them before, but they still did all around a good job. But Russell Crowe steals the show for me.
Yeah, definitely.
He really does. And how did your mom find it when you guys watched it? Did she like it, or did she have notes?
Yeah. No, she enjoyed it. She thought it was pretty good. She enjoyed Russell Crowe in the movie. She thought the main woman was a bit annoying, but that's typical. She thought some of the decisions she made was stupid, but yeah, I mean, it is a pretty good movie.
It is still pretty good.
I enjoyed it, and overall, her and I both had fun watching it.
Yeah, for sure. That's good, man. Glad you guys enjoyed it. So I realize I botched our format a little bit. Would you like to do some statistics?
That's fine. It's fine. Whether we do, well,
either or first. Yeah, no, I just went with it.
Yeah, it's all in the beginning anyway. So, this movie was directed by Derek Bort.
Wow.
Or Borte, because it's Borte. So.
Oh, Borte, yeah.
It could be Bort or Borte. So, apologize if I got that pronunciation wrong. Written by Carl Ellsworth. Original music by David Buckley.
I know that name.
Yeah, I think that does sound very familiar.
Yeah.
Director of photography Brendan Galvin. And then film editing by Michael McCusker, Steve Merkovich, and Tim Merkovich.
Oh, okay, some brothers. Nice. Yeah, it was that for editing, you said.
Yeah, for editing.
Oh, nice. All right. So, plot. We actually start off with quite an interesting montage of traffic accidents
remember, sorry to cut you off, but remember before that, the movie actually...
Oh, yeah,
The movie actually opens with Russell Crowe's, like, his first road rage kill or whatever. Then we cut to the montage.
You're right, I'm sorry. They do open with that scene and then it's the montage. You're correct. I thought I had my order swapped. That opening scene, Russell Crowe is seen outside a house. It's during like a heavy rainstorm and it's early in the morning. I think I said 4 o'clock in the morning. And he's parked outside this house and you can see he has he's on edge. He's upset over something. So he fumbles around in his car. He gets a hammer as a weapon and he breaks the door down and he kills the people that stay there. Yeah. Both a male and a female, a guy and a honey. And then he sets the house ablaze, and it explodes as he's driving away. That's quite an epic opening.
It is an epic opening.
I'm not gonna lie. And then we get to that montage of the car crashes and stuff like that, while
news footage and everything like that.
While the credits of the film are being displayed, and then that just talks about how everyone is stressed out and on edge, and violence is on the increase, and this sort of stuff. I thought it was a very clever introduction. It was impressive. It reminded me a lot of World War Z. Like, have you seen World War Z? No, you haven't. We spoke about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen World War Z yet. I still need to watch that one.
Yeah, that movie. Anyway, the opening scene starts very similar with the credits and a lot of news footage and stuff like that. It's epic. So it gave me a lot of World War Z vibes. But then after that montage, we meet our main family, the protagonist, basically. I think her name is Amy.
Yeah, I think it's Amy.
Amy and her son.
You can carry on talking, but
double check.
Let me just double check so that we don't butcher it.
So we meet Amy and her son, and Amy is going through a tough divorce right now. Or not a tough, but it's unfair, I guess. She's very stressed out. She's just lost her own salon as well, and she's under pressure from lawyers. Sorry, one sec. Her son for school and clients. Okay, you're going to say?
I was going to say that her name's Rachel.
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah,
Amy, where did I get Amy?
But yeah, it's Rachel.
Sure. What's wrong with me? Okay, whatever. Me and names. So Rachel is that character going through everything. So she's had a bit of a rough morning. She's running late. She just lost her best client. And now her son is also sort of grumpy with her, I guess, because he's late for school because she overslept again. And now they kind of start taking shortcuts. They look through like Google Maps and traffic routes and stuff like that, and everything says it's clear, but of course it isn't. I mean, what is these days? Traffic is atrocious.
Yeah.
And they kind of duck and weave through quite a long section of just stagnant traffic until eventually they decide, no, they're going to take one extra shortcut. And boy, did they meet the wrong person.
Yeah.
During this, it's actually at an intersection. It's you hear it on the news, something about like a murder and a house fire, and they're looking for Russell Crowe, who is the bad guy, and he is at this intersection. Obviously, he's zoned out. He's obviously got a lot on his mind. He has this grudge against divorce lawyers specifically, and I think that's pretty much what happened with him and his wife as well. That's probably why he killed them.
Yeah.
She ran off with the divorce lawyer or something like that. Or the divorce lawyer took a lot more from him than was fair.
Yeah.
Anyway, one sec. So the light goes green. Rachel and her son are behind, in the car behind. And Russell Crowe refuses to drive off. He doesn't have a name in this show. In the credits, he's just credited as Man.
Yeah, he's just Man.
So I'm just going to call him Russell Crowe.
He does use a name and surname when he meets up with that.
That
friend. But like, I don't know if that's like actually
his real name, or if it's something,
or if it's like something he came up with,
like a pseudonym, Ben Cooper. Yeah, but I'm just going to refer to him as Russell Crowe. And the light's green. He's zoned out. He isn't paying attention. So everyone in the lane next to them gets to drive off because the light is green, but he stays there for the whole cycle, so the light is red again. And Rachel pretty much swerves out of the lane behind him into the next lane and like hoots at him and is pretty violent and aggressive. She even like zaps him or does that, that piss off motion.
Yeah.
And that obviously that gets under his nerves. So he follows the car. He parks in the lane next to them and he starts talking to the son. He's like, hey, roll down your window. And he's like, he really wants an apology, long story short. He's saying, no, he's had a rough time. Can you just apologize? He apologizes for his being zoned out. And they hope to go their separate ways. But Amy again. But Rachel is like, nope, we're not going to apologize for anything. You're being rude. She's also had a terrible morning. There's this just high tension all around. And, how do I say? Basically, because she refuses to apologize, he's going to prove to her that her day is not as bad as it can be. He wants his apology, but more so he wants to show her how bad a day she could really have.
Yeah.
So he gets road rage. It's my favorite term. They kind of evade him pretty quickly, but he's got a grudge now. He death stares them. He knows where they're going, and she's able to drop off her son. Did you see her son's name, by the way?
It's Kyle.
Kyle. They managed to drop him off just in time. And she needs fuel. Oh, she's actually going to meet with a friend of hers at a diner. A divorce lawyer that's helping her.
She calls her divorce lawyer because the thing is they're friends in like real life. They're friends, so he says like, I'll meet you for breakfast or whatever.
Probably has stuff to discuss.
Yeah, exactly.
Because sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and then that's when she goes to the gas station.
Yeah, that's when she goes to the gas station. But the reason she's meeting with him, I think, is because her ex-husband that she's divorcing right now is being a real pain, and he's got a lot on his wish list for what he wants from her. Like now he wants the house from her, and so she's going to meet with the lawyer probably for advice. Yeah,
as somebody whose parents are divorced, it's never an easy process.
No, I'm sure it's not. It's
never
quite
an easy
hardcore.
Process, and both parties always try to screw each other over. Well, not always, but like there's always the one person that doesn't want to give money to or whatever. But like I mean, that's just in. But I'm just talking generally. I'm not talking about obviously my parents or anything.
Yeah, it's true. It's just never a smooth process ever. Yeah. It seems to be a thing. Anyway, before she goes and meets him, she needs fuel, so she stops at a gas station. She draws some cash. The last bit of change in her account. No, that's not a lie. There's still more cash. Anyway, it turns out Russell Crowe followed her around and he's parked right behind her at the gas station. And she's like, while she's paying the cashier, she's talking to her and she's like, I think that guy is following me. And she says, oh, he's probably got a bit of road rage. So another customer walks in, he wants to pay. And he's like, well, long story. They make up a plan. He's like, I'll walk you to the car, your car. I'll get his license plate and then you just, drive off and I'll tell him, lay off of her. They attempt that. She speeds off and Russell Crowe has had enough. He's like, no, I'm after this woman. So he flattens the other character that just helped her walk.
They're basically just like, I got your license plate, man. I can call the cops at any point. And Russell Crowe's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, no, he just flattens him outright. Which is the first real death. Sorry, since since the opening scene. That's the first death we see. He gets run over. And, I forgot an important detail. While she was out inside the gas station, he took her phone from her car and he left like a burner phone, which becomes very important for them to communicate later on. Anyway, where does it go from there? Oh, yeah, she speeds away and he gets to the lawyer first.
Yeah.
He knows that they have the meeting, so he goes and he makes up some lie. He's an old friend. He's an old friend from out of town. He moved there recently. And he starts talking to the divorce lawyer, which is what I said earlier about how I think he also had like a harsh divorce because he's got a real grudge against them. And he's not taking it out on him yet, but the way he's wording it, you can tell it sounds like a personal experience.
Yeah.
So
because he specifically goes on about how lawyers will
screw you over
and everything like that.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Rachel doesn't realize her phone is missing yet because she's still obviously stressed out and speeding off. But eventually she's able to stop and try to gather her thoughts. And she gets a phone call from Russell Crowe in that diner with, what's his name?
And then also, just one thing I wanted to mention, just to kind of go off your point that he clearly has gone through divorce and that he's been screwed over by a divorce lawyer, whether the divorce lawyer slept with his wife or whether he screwed him out of money or something like that. Probably the first option.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both. But to add to that, there's actually a bit where he's because obviously eventually he just starts smacking this lawyer around, like slamming his head into the table. He's just brutally brutally executing this guy. And then he's on the phone with Rachel. Then Rachel says he's screwing you over or whatever. And then she says he's married. It's like, that doesn't mean much these days. So that little line of dialogue does give you a hint.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of sprinkled throughout that scene
Yeah.
of what exactly he's gone through, that he's so deranged and aggressive right now.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm rambling.
That's fine.
Long story short, Russell Crowe ends up killing her lawyer friend to start proving a point. He starts off like as a normal friend, to the lawyer, but we know, okay, he's not here. He's here to make her day a living hell, and he's still after his apology. So he kills him mercilessly with a fork. Like, jeez, that's a real really harsh kill.
I mean, but basically what happens is he kills the lawyer, he leaves, and then that's obviously when the police sort of get more of a track on him, because now they're just like, okay, well, now this guy's like murdered just some random lawyer in a diner in a public place.
Yeah, they've got like video footage of him, and he's known to be a problem right now.
Yeah, because he's actually wanted by the police, and the police are looking for him. So that happens, and then he's on the highway and he's talking. The two of them are talking over phone, and then he says and he's basically going through a contact list and saying, "So who am I going after next?
Pick someone to kill.
Pick someone to kill. The husband, the son, the
uncle.
The uncle, your mother in the nursery home. Who's gonna get it?" And then they have this whole back and forth, and eventually she gives up the name of because initially she says just come after me, just come kill me, whatever. But he says no, that's not how it works. And then she gives him the name the name of her boss. Not a boss, her client, basically. Because in the beginning, she's late for work, and then obviously she's trying to drop her son off. So she calls up, her client phones, and she says, okay, sorry, I'm just going to be 20 minutes late. So just I'm stuck in traffic. And then the client's basically just like, oh, no, you're fired. I don't care. Whatever. I'm just going to call somebody else. And then
Rachel basically goes after, or suggests her name. She's like, you know what, go after her. It's fine.
Go after her. But yeah, Russell Crowe doesn't go after the
he doesn't.
client.
He doesn't play by his own rules that he set up, which is also a way to get into her head. It's clever.
He goes after the uncle.
Yeah,
the brother.
Her brother, basically.
Her brother and his fiance.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say he brutally murders the fiance, and now he's gonna torture the uncle.
Yeah, he tries to torture this uncle. Because she raced over to school to get her son out of school so that she can keep an eye on him and he can be safe with her. So while Russell Crowe has killed the fiancé and is now torturing the uncle, he writes a letter that he forces the uncle to read, and it's about how this is all your fault, and you're the reason we're dead, and this sort of stuff. It was obviously, from her perspective, it was obvious that Russell wrote it, but the uncle is forced to read it, or he'll be burnt alive.
Yeah.
Which is very intense. But thankfully, she called the cops beforehand, immediately after their interaction of who do I kill next. That call, she calls the police, and so they're spread out to the different locations looking for Russell Crowe. So they're onto him. They eventually find him at her house with her brother, who he's about to kill, but he lights him on fire as a defensive shield and then pushes him to the officer. Yeah. Obviously as a distraction to escape.
Yeah.
He gets shot in the shoulder, but he still manages to escape. And we think, okay, that's it. The brother's, he's in the ground because we never see him again, literally. But he does survive, thankfully. We find out at the end he does survive. And now Russell is pretty much coming straight after her. He's murdered the fiancé. He stole the neighbor's car, their new car, from across the road.
Yeah, which they do brilliantly set up, because when they're getting ready to go to school, there's some woman lives across the way. Obviously, some another mom at the school or whatever, and she says oh, Rachel, look at our new station wagon. Look how expensive the station wagon is.
And it has a custom license plate.
Yeah, it has a custom license plate called Rosie, and then she sets. Yeah, I do like that setup.
I do like it as well.
They set it up very well because because at first You just go, okay, fine, whatever. Like, like who cares? But then you see like the license plate called Rosie. You're just like, that's gonna come back later.
Yeah, they draw attention to it. But you don't. The first time you watch it, you don't really think about it. You're just like, okay, some pompous mom with a fancy license plate, whatever.
Yeah.
But that becomes a key element in the story. So after he escapes from the police, he's looking for them. He's coming after Rachel and her son now. One time, he's kind of sick of this, and how he's able to keep track of her is her tablet went missing, but it actually didn't. What he did was he taped it. I wanted to say strapped. He taped it to the underside of her seat, and through the Find My Phone app, he's basically keeping track of where she is in the car. So that's how he's able to find her. And the son actually makes that connection. He's like, well, if he's sort of looking at us, he might be looking at us, but we can look at him as well because he has her phone. So he does that, and it says the car is right behind them. And somehow Russell doesn't immediately notice. They sort of cruise next to each other for a minute.
But I think also because he's not really looking at the phone. He's kind of like, going like...
True, yeah, his shoulder is shot up. But I imagine... His shoulder is
shot up, so he's probably not thinking about, like, looking... He's probably not focused on the phone right now.
True. Yeah, he's definitely not on it. But I imagine he's maybe heading in their general direction. Otherwise, that would be a hell of a coincidence to end up on the same stretch of road.
Yeah.
Anyway. There's a police car right past Russell. So if we just paint a visual, it's a police car. Next lane is Russell's car, and then they're behind. So they have to overtake him in order to signal the cop, like, hey, can you help us? This lunatic is after us. He's trying to kill us. He's the guy you're looking for. And so they speed up, and they barely get past, and he notices the car eventually. He's like, okay, I see what you did there. And he starts chasing after them. He hits the police car just as the cop car or the cop wakes up, and he's like, okay, let me help these people. He hits the bumper, car spins out, and the cop is taken out by a truck, which causes a massive accident, by the way.
Yeah.
So that cop is no longer able to help. And now suddenly Rachel and her son are on their own again. And they're like, okay, cool, let's just try call 911, see if anyone can help us with the last bit of battery life on a tablet. And they get through, and the cops are like, oh, no, sorry, we've got no one that can help you. Even if it's a murderer, everyone is responding to this crash that just happened. And she's like, he's the cause of this crash. He's the reason all of this is going on. But the battery dies, and the cop's like, yeah, sorry, we can't help you right now, which is kind of typical. And so they're on their own, and they actually bring up something that her brother said earlier this morning when they went to go visit their grandmother. It's a spaghetti maze where she stays. It's very confusing and backwindy and stuff like that. Yeah. So they're like, let's go hide out there, just long enough for the cops to be able to respond, because they can lose him in the maze.
Yeah.
So they speed over there. They barely make it. he kind of gets lost because they take a turn off and he goes straight, so he has to reverse. That gives them enough time to escape. And he starts cruising around the estate slowly looking for them. But their car is hidden well somewhere. Even I was looking at that place and I was like, yeah, I can see why people get lost.
Yeah.
Anyway, they set up a trap because of a whole Fortnite strategy that they made up.
Yeah.
Her son and her ex-husband, they made like a strategy to play Fortnite.
No, remember, it's the son and the brother.
Oh, and her brother, is it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's the brother, and remember the son wants to tell his dad about the Fortnite strategy, but his dad's just like, I'm busy at work, go away.
Okay, sorry, my bad. Anyway, they actually implement this strategy into real life, where they say one person runs distraction while the other one kills them. So the son runs inside grandma's house, who's not at home. She just despawned, apparently.
Well, I remember she's in an old age home.
Yeah, she is. Oh, the house has probably not been sold yet.
Yeah, she's in an old age home. It's her old house, and they probably haven't done anything with the house yet. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because she is at that old age home, I know. I was just wondering why she wasn't at home. Basically, they implement this strategy. Rachel crashes into Russell Crowe after he finds their Volvo. She flips his car, which causes him obviously a bit of an injury. They get out. They have a scuffle. All in the meantime, Kyle has set off the silent alarm of the house.
Yeah.
The cops are on their way. You know, they just have to survive at this point. Because for some reason, 5 minutes ago, the cops were busy, but now they're fine.
Yeah.
Anyway, do you want to say something? Do you have a question? No?
No, nothing. Pretty much just the kid goes hides inside this like the secret basement. Like there's like this like in the
compartment,
cupboard. There's like this little like sliding thing, and then like he slides in, he hides in there.
Yeah, so he's hidden. Russell is or Rachel is supposedly knocked out, so Russell Crowe is looking for him now. He doesn't know about this crawl space, but of course he knocks something over within the crawl space and it makes a huge racket, which of course alerts Russell. So he finds him eventually, but for some reason Rachel gets there before Russell somehow. Anyway,
she used the back door. I don't know.
Yeah, she probably used some sort of alternate entrance. He gets there only a couple of seconds later, and he pulls Rachel out. Yeah, Rachel, I think. And then they have a huge fight, ultimately leading to Russell Crowe's death. She even hits him with the one-liner that he said earlier, which is probably a very quick way of explaining it.
It's like something about untap.
Yeah, he said it's a courtesy tap.
A courtesy tap, and then she's like, "Yes, your freaking courtesy tap," and she like kicks the
scissors,
because she stabs him with the scissors in the eye, and then he falls down. But then when he wants to get up, she kicks the scissors back further into his head,
and that's the killing blow. Which immediately after, then there's a lot of there's so many people there in terms of first responders. They just said they were all busy on the freeway, and suddenly in the next little area, they all have no emergencies to attend to because there's 20 people there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a bit weird for me, but it's okay. And they find out Uncle is alive. As I said, that's the moment they find out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Unhinged as a whole.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty straightforward story. I didn't word it 100%, but it's still fun.
Yeah, it's still fun. It's a fun thriller. Definitely.
Shall we go into shots we like?
Yeah. I didn't really have any. I don't think I really have any shots that I liked. I mean, if it's a good movie, and it's not shot badly or anything, but there's just to me there wasn't any shots that really stood out to me.
No, I get you. I think the only shot that stood out to me was the very opening scene where he pulls away from after setting the house alight. And the camera is mounted on his car.
Yeah. There's
and then the explosion.
That is a cool shot.
That's the only shot that I really liked. That blew my mind. So that would be it.
Yeah, I actually forgot about the explosion because I remember that opening scene where he goes and kills obviously the lawyer and his wife. But I actually forgot about that there was an explosion. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty impressive. They actually had the budget to do something like that.
Yeah, very small, probably controlled explosion, but it was still effective.
Yeah, but it also just shows that what I meant to say was that it also just shows that the movie's it's not an ultra low budget movie.
No, not by any means.
Yeah.
Takeaways, if you have any.
Just really enjoyed it. The film, it kept a good pace throughout. Especially as a 90-minute thriller. And I just like the subtle little... and I also just love the writing in terms of just the subtle little hints that they give you. Like that... like what we mentioned earlier that very early setup of the station... of the mom's station wagon with the rosy license plate.
Sorry, man. You were talking about how the script set up certain aspects.
I like how the script set up that beginning bit with the van with the little custom license plate, and I also just like the little subtle hints that they give you about this guy's backstory and everything like that, and how they just set up things that it's things earlier in the film that you don't think are important but come into play later, like when
the scissors,
the scissors, or when the mom and the son are talking about this Fortnite strategy that the kid came up with. And the mom doesn't know what he's talking about because obviously he doesn't play Fortnite, and it's just interesting.
It is.
It's just really clever writing.
It is very clever. Even I give you that because they don't do it just once; they do it a few times for a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I think that's very, very subtle and ingenious writing.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. That's a takeaway of mine as well. The setups and just the way they wrote the script. So it's not so cut and dry. There's a little bit more depth and development.
There's a little bit more depth to it. Yeah.
Those are my takeaways for sure. Rating?
I give it a 7 out of 10. Pretty solid movie. Solid movie. Good. It's a good like 90-minute thriller to watch, and yeah, Russell Crowe is just very good in that. So
he does kill the show. I agree. I think I'd give it a 7 as well. I wanted to give it an 8, but I was like, well, no, it's not really the type of movie you throw on, every now and then.
Yeah, it's a movie that you maybe like watch every once in a while. Maybe like, when it comes on cable, or maybe like when you're one day when you're bored and you go onto Netflix and it's like on Netflix, you're like, oh, okay, oh yeah, I remember that movie.
Yeah, let's check it.
Let me just, put it, it's only 90 minutes, so let me just put it on or whatever, yeah.
Not that it's forgettable.
No, it's not forgettable.
No,
anyway.
It's just not that deep in order to break down and understand.
Yeah.
So it's not very like thought-provoking, is what I'm saying. So you don't have to put it on all the time.
It's just a fun 90-minute thriller that you just watch, that you can just watch once.
Like zone out to,
You can watch once, or you could watch like, maybe once every few years, and
and enjoy it, for sure. Any other final notes? Anything like that?
No, just I just really enjoyed it. It was just a nice movie, and and it was also just a really good movie to get, because the problem is this was in like late 2020 when we were just getting no movies at all. Because
it was a bit of an icebreaker.
Because of all the delays and everything like that, and then Unhinged like just comes out of nowhere, and you think that they're just dumping some crappy movie that they made, but actually it was pretty good.
It's very good.
It was like good, and it was like, okay, cool. This is a nice movie actually.
You're right. You bring up a valid point. It came out during like a cinematic drought when everything was on hold.
Yeah.
And there was nothing to watch in the cinema, even if they were open.
Although it was a bit annoying the cinema did, because the cinema was saying like, because when Unhinged came out, because obviously Unhinged came out when there was nothing else playing in cinemas, so it was basically like the only new movie playing. And then for weeks they were bragging like yeah, number one movie at the box office, and then people saying it's the only movie at the box office.
Okay, I didn't know about that, but it makes sense. I can see why they did it.
Well, I mean, okay, I guess it is good for them, because that means that the movie did make money. Because if this movie came out in a busy week where there was a lot of other movies coming out, it probably wouldn't have made as much money.
No, for sure. I think I'll take that as a note as well. That's a fair point. And I think I don't really have any final notes other than just giving like Russell Crowe a shout out, a performance shout out. He's very, very good as. I mean,
he's good in every movie that he's in, but this is like a really like good movie for him. And I think
top tier.
And also, it's just I think he just had fun playing a villain. He was just like, oh yeah, just having it up and everything like that.
Yeah, let me be a bad guy for once.
Yeah.
I enjoy that sucker punch he gave the lawyer when he's like, hey, give me my phone, and he took the mug and he slammed it in his face. I was like, whoa, nice. Yeah. That must have been difficult as like a stunt if it was real.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, anyway, that's just something I thought was cool. So that would be it for you. I can sign out. All right, cool.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, guys. Well, that would be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it thus far, if you liked it, please like, share, and subscribe. We're always open to any sort of feedback. So if you have any theories or suggestions for us, or anything related to the film that you'd like to just mention, please, by all means, leave it in the comments. You can find us here on YT on YouTube, or any of our podcast platforms like Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, stuff like that. And of course, I am Kevin, the host of this episode. This is my good co-host, Logan. And Thanks, guys.